Hey guys.
Hi people.
Hello.
Welcome to the third episode of
Girls Classes Got Podcast.
Woo!
Evan, we don't do that.
Well, continue
Singles.
saying that. But
So-
yeah, we hope that you have listened to the last 2 episodes.
And if you haven't,
Please do.
go and
Please
watch
do.
them.
Please
Go and listen
do.
to
Please
them.
do.
Go. Okay.
So,
How
what
was your
have you
week?
been? What have you been up to? How has your week been? This is weekend, by the way. I think that's when we really have time.
Yeah.
So-
So my week, I had first week of classes, and I actually I had the flu. So I was recovering. I had like a sore throat. I had a cough. I had catarrh. I had like the whole upper respiratory tract, respiratory tract infection, coinciding with the first week of classes, and let's just say that's all I can say. But yeah. So how was your week?
My week was cool. My week was chilled. Work basically. It's been. I think again, it's just been the start of the year, so it peaks next week. From next week, which is good. But we have holiday on Monday. Monday is MLK
Yeah.
MLK
Day.
which
So
is
we are
good. So
volunteering on MLK Day. So
yeah, you guys are volunteering, but I'm just going to use that day to rest and take care of things that I haven't been able to do this weekend. So
you should come and volunteer with us.
I'll think about it. But you already know the answer.
You need to be useful on MLK Day. Evan.
Yeah, I will. Obviously, have you not heard the things I'm doing?
No.
I
Please
plan to be
retreat.
useful. So
What are you going to do?
what am I going to do? I have
Mhm.
a couple of things on my to-do list that I haven't taken care of, and it would be cool to take care of that before work starts on Monday.
Yes, I think
On
you said
Tuesday,
it's going
rather.
to get colder this week, right?
Yeah, this is like the cold. This is like winter. It's going to be cold from now till I don't know. We're like in the 20s to 40s now.
I haven't even been checking the weather.
I think
Doesn't-
we'll get to like 10
Do you
or
know
single
that
digits
this
very
last
soon.
week, I should also mention that the rain that fell in Athens, I have never experienced that kind of rain ever since
I
I've
think
come
some
to the
houses
US.
actually experienced flood.
The rain was terrible. Like, a lot of people didn't come to class, and I think I had just one class that day. And me and Yano, I was like, it's raining, get your umbrella. And we came down, and when you walk and you're like, Yano was like, Lauren, should we take Uber? But when you think about how long it would take for the Uber to come, pick
Then
you,
you're already in
go
school.
there, we're like, okay, people are walking, let's just walk. Ebon, oh God. The minute we were stepping, like, all those sidewalks, they were flooded. We literally put our feet there and my shoe was wet. In fact, that was even some of the things that like attributed to like
Are
me
you
having like
serious?
the cold kata and everything, because that rain was terrible. No,
That's crazy.
that rain was terrible. I've never experienced
What
a
day
rain
of
like
the
that.
week was that?
That was a Tuesday. That was Tuesday. That was Tuesday.
Okay, so I didn't step out of this house until Thursday. So I have no clue
No,
what happened outside.
I was literally like, this is kind of weather that you're supposed to be under your blanket, like sleeping. Like, and that day was just a long day for me, because I think I didn't come back home until maybe 3:00. And I only had one class, but I think I just had like some running arounds to do for like beginning of the semester and all of that.
Yeah.
Then going to like going to like get some meds for like the cough and catarrh that was like developing. But honestly, I think that's the worst rain I've ever experienced ever since I've come to the US. So that's like saying something. I don't even think I don't want to say it hasn't rained like that in Nigeria before, but
That's saying
I
what?
haven't like had like to be under that kind of rain. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I didn't like, because I was the umbrella was even leaking. That was how bad it was. The umbrella was leaking.
When you said that, saying something, saying what?
No, I said I haven't experienced that kind of rain before since I came here. That's to show you
You
how
not
bad.
said that saying something.
Like, that's saying like to show you the extent of how bad
Oh,
the rain
yeah.
was. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
But now
yeah.
you're getting better, right?
yeah, I'm getting better. In fact, I'm better already. I'm good. I'm healthy.
Yeah. That's good. So what are we talking about today?
We're talking about the Nigerian accent wahala.
Ha! Hey.
Nigerian accent wahala.
Oh my god.
I feel like I'm going to forget to say this, but remember that when we were going shopping for like some of our equipment, and we're talking to somebody in like the what was the shop we went to?
Best Buy.
Yeah. And we're just talking to him about how we are starting a podcast, blah 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 blah, about like immigrants, some other things. And he was like, "Oh, I think he took a guess to where we were from, and he was like,
said,
"Oh yeah,
"You guys
you
are
guys
from
are Nigeria."
Yeah.
And we're like, "Oh, how did you know?" And he was like, your accent.
As in, it's like his real accent, Wahala. Oh God. Do you know, I feel like there are two types of people. Obviously, everybody has an accent,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
If you come to Nigeria and you don't talk like Nigerians, you have an accent.
Yeah.
Different from Nigerians.
Yeah.
So we are Nigerians here. They will say, oh, you have an accent. And then there are two types of people. There are people who are like, they will try to be polite, and they'll be like, oh, you have such a beautiful accent, where are you from? I've experienced that before. Then you know, be like, and there's some people who are so rude. Like late last year I was checking into a hotel, and the first thing the guy did not greet me or whatever. The guy just looked up and was like, oh, where are you from? And obviously when they're asking you where are you from, it's not like where do you live, it's like where are you originally from. I had to say, why do you ask? Because that was so rude. Like that was like the very first thing you're asking me.
I think you can always tell, kind of. So I feel like sometimes you can always tell people's intention when they ask you that kind of question.
Yeah.
Because how can you just be meeting me for the first time? You're not even saying like, hi, where are you coming in from? Because people are very chatty in the US. So it's not far-fetched for them to say, oh yeah, where are you from? But I feel like there's a way you know if it's like in a curious manner of, oh, I'm curious to know where you're from.
Or that
or if it's
rude.
like,
oh, you don't talk like me.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. Which is very bad. Which is very bad. Because like I said, everybody has an accent. If you go somewhere else that is not in your environment, you're talking differently.
Yeah. And even right in the US, people in the north speak differently from the south. Like there's
True.
the southern accent, and there's also like people from the north. Like I'm sure they have even like regional accents, but like you have to be here for a while for you to know that okay, this person is maybe from like Chicago or whatever.
Yeah.
So just like how if you're in Nigeria too, there's a way some people will say something like be like this person is Benin or something. So like you know how in Nigeria as well that you know that oh this person is from like the north, or this person is from the south, or this person is from the south. There's a way you can always tell. So I guess regardless of who you are or where you're from, like people always, and I think I always notice it even when we enter Ubers in Athens.
They would ask you.
To start talking at the back, like,
oh, where are you from?
So where you guys from?
That question is tiring, you all. Like these days, I feel like anybody ask me that question one more time. Like if we are having a conversation, like if we've had, if we've been talking and things like that, then things like that can come out. But like the first thing that you ask me, where are you from? I'm like, sometimes I just say random things like, oh, I school in Athens. Oh, I work in Atlanta. Oh, because it's like you guys are. Because it's exactly very irritating and annoying, really.
And I think sometimes you just say to fill the void because, like I said, it can be very chatty. And it's like, okay, nothing. Like, we might just be talking. You might have never been, like, interested in saying anything before. Then because you now hear the accent, you're not like, oh, so where you guys from? When we'll now be like Nigeria, then you have nothing to say again. It's like, okay, if you want to talk, keep the conversation going, right? I can hear myself now.
I have to increase it.
So if you want to talk, keep the conversation going, right? But sometimes some people are very interested to hear. Some people are very just curious by nature and everything. But some other times it's like, oh, this is somebody different from me. This is somebody that has a distinct accent different from me, different from the normal American accent. Even like for black people, because even black people, they have a particular way they speak different too from like white people and other kinds of people. So sometimes it's just pointless actually. Like, okay, you want to know where I'm from, so leading to what? Yeah,
how you make someone different from you feel goes a long way. Goes a long way, But yeah, and then again, I feel like when you come to America as a Nigerian and then they tell you have an accent, now there's a pressure to talk that way. But unfortunately, the more you try to talk that way, the more foolish you sound. But guess what? We all do it. Like,
and
we
it's very
literally all do
subconscious. It is very, very subconscious. Like, very, very. And that's what I was saying about when you're in class. And you're hearing people talking and you're like, and you
see what that man was talking about.
You will not feel pressure to like speak
also
slower.
Speak that way. And not even slower. Like, you want to like
you are saying it small so they can catch the words.
People will not be like, you know, we're saying
I
a
hate
song.
that one. I hate that one. I hate that one. I hate that one. Please
When people
don't.
now
Don't.
start for me like very terrible,
No.
you're not trying to like be so much under pressure
Nah.
but the trick is talk the normal way, but
Yeah.
speak slowly.
Yeah,
That's the trick.
they'll hear you, or they'll try as much as possible and
To
they'll
hear you. Like,
They'll
don't
as
try
much as
to,
possible
like, the
to
more
hear
you try to do, like, what, my dear, what you sound like in your head is not what you sound like in the real world.
Oh God, you sound worse.
You
Trust
sound
me.
worse.
And people are like looking at you and are like, what's going on with that girl? But I was going to say something about how I think after a while too, when you've been here and you've seen how they interact and things like that, your like the way you inflect on some words change.
True.
Like when you're saying hi, somebody's like, oh, how are you? Like
Yeah.
you are going up and
Yeah.
you're like, we're used to saying things like, oh, how far, like
Yeah.
same like level tone
Yeah.
and everything. But it's like,
Hey, how
oh,
are
hey,
you?
like
Hey,
how you doing?
are
How was your
doing?
weekend?
How about
Like
you? Oh, when they say, oh, where are you from? I'm from Atlanta. They say, I'm from Atlanta. Normally they say, Atlanta.
then even
They say I'm
like
from
their
Atlanta.
T's, they roll their T's.
Yeah.
They roll their T's. So
Yeah.
it's like you now start saying I think there was a time that we're saying something it was supposed to be 30.
30.
Like 30. You know,
30.
Like, you will not be the one saying 30. You will not be the one saying 30 or
30,
something.
50.
So So I feel
Yeah.
like there's like you
just-
feel
you
a
just
sense of pressure in a way, but
involuntarily
yeah,
code
you will.
switch.
Definitely.
You just involuntarily do it.
Definitely.
It happens to all of us, so don't feel pressure.
Definitely.
But I'm saying that just be more conscious of like speak clearly and slowly instead of trying to adapt to what it looks like. They're
You know
saying.
the funny thing, I just remembered something really funny, and there was a time that we were all talking, and when you're like among your Nigerians and everything now, and somebody that was there that is Ghanaian, and we're just talking about because you feel like you guys are all Nigerians. We now said something, and we didn't even realize that I think we said something Yoruba or something, and all of us just laughed, and he was like, "Oh, what does that mean?" I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like, so it gets to, but when you're like when you're like in like maybe a more public place or something, you become very watchful of what you say, because you don't want to be like speaking something else that people cannot understand and things like that. So there's always that.
Yeah. And I think recently, so again, your accent, your name is another thing that comes with like who you are as a Nigerian or African. In Africa, let me speak for Nigeria. In Nigeria, most times when your parents give you name, there's a reason. Your name has a meaning. It's not just a name. For instance, my name is Ebonluwa, which means the gift of God. So when people call me Ebon, like people ask me, oh, why do you prefer to use? I could use Esther if I wanted to, but I'm like,
and
when
Esther
you call me,
first name.
and that's my first name. But I'm like, when you call me that, it reminds me that I'm a gift from and of God, right? So that speaks something to me. So, but obviously we have intonation, right?
Yeah.
Then my own even name is even your own is Omoloro. So when you're in a place and they're like, oh, introduce yourself. So you say, like, oh, my name is William Brooks. And they say, like, oh yeah, my name is
Chelsea.
My name is Peter. I say, oh, my name is April. Oh, my name is Brooks. My name is Church. Oh, my name is. And they say, like, my name is Temitope
Omoloro Uju. Then I'm like, tell me what? What?
Oh my God. Like every time I say my name is April, someone's like, oh, your name is April?
I'm like, where do you get April from? Like
that literally comes every time.
What are the different things you've heard? Because I'm like,
because you're like, so my name is so they can't picture someone bearing an bon. Like
so they don't have that sound.
Intonation is bon. So that's not what a typical non-Yoruba person would think that a name should look like. So they'll just associate it with the nearest thing. So it's like, oh, my name is Ebon. Oh, you say, oh, you mean April? In fact, most times in Starbucks, they don't even used to ask me. They just write April there, straight up.
April.
So, but you can't compare it to, oh, my name is Paul. Oh, my name is Sam. Oh, my name is my name
or
is
if you have like an English name, like it's like, oh, Sarah, or like
something like
Jessica
that.
or something.
So when they say, my name is Jessie, my name is Paul, my name is Sam, my name is Omoloro.
Do you know that? Funny enough, I actually feel that. So when I was coming to the US, I made the decision that which of my names am I going to use, and I felt like I should use Temitope because in my mind that was going to be the easier name to pronounce. Because even while I was in Nigeria, some people still used to mess up Omoloro. So I'm like, I like my name too much. I don't want people to like mess it up. I'll get pissed off. So I wanted to use Temitope, but hey, the different things I've heard about my name.
You just said Temi now.
You know,
I feel
that's,
like
you know,
people get Temi all the time. Like
people-
you can't get it
yes.
wrong. And the Temi that they'll spell is different.
yeah, people actually get Temi, but I don't like shortening my name. I think I'm just very particular, just like what you said about names and meanings. I'm just very particular about how you say my name. So like when I came, I was very strict on, I want you to say my name in full. But I think as I've been here for a while now, I'm like, oh, if you can't say Temi Tokwe, call me Temi. Like, so even during, like when I was doing my internship self, most of my team members were calling me Temi. Like they were calling me Temi. So it's like,
Yeah.
that's like, if I'm going to like a new environment again, like that's when like, oh, if you can't call me Temi Tokwe, call me Temi. But there's some people that will still be like, oh, I want to know how to pronounce your name.
Then that's fine.
Yeah. So about what you were saying about the pronunciation thing. So my full name is Temi Tokpe, and that PE at the ending is like is KPE. Like is in Yoruba is P, and it's like, so they don't have that sound in the English language. So like there's no how.
The nearest thing
it's
is
always
P.
like P. Yeah. So it's like, oh, Temi Topi or Temi Top. Temi Top. So Temi Topa. I'm like,
Oh my god, where did that come from? But yeah, that's why it's just like how I put Ebon. Like my full name is Ebonlua, but trust me,
nobody's calling you
before you.
Ebon.
And I think one of the things that I also thought about is, okay, if I'm not using Esther would have been the easiest to use actually, but I wanted like to synchronize like what people know me as, more like the brand. So I was like, okay, let me just use Ebon. And people just say, oh, Ebon. Like in fact, this day, if you not call me Ebon, I'll not be like, that's strange, because it's like Igbo. Everybody just, call me Igbo and things like that. But one of the things I was also conscious about is people remembering you. Yeah. So if people are struggling to, like, for instance, now if you say, oh, call me Temi Tokwe or call me Ebonlua, guy, let's not lie to ourselves. Yeah. That person would not remember your name the second time he or she is meeting you. In actual fact, if I read Ebon, I don't really expect me that normally say if your name is even English, I might not even remember. Now talk of what you're not used to.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, but I want to also get to that point where my name can be forgotten. So I'm like,
you want to get to the point where your name cannot be forgotten.
Okay. Can't be forgotten. So it's like, oh, I've done something so much, or I've done you so well, so much that you understand. At least you remember Ebon. Yeah. And I'm so surprised. Like, for instance, when I came back from Inter, like, people actually did remember my name. But if I'm like, I'm stuck, call me Ebonlu, wow, you're your own man. So, but I still want to, maintain the name Ebon, because I know in myself the meaning of Ebonlu, it's the gift from God. So,
and when I was even saying about like why I chose that decision to go with Temi Tokwe, the funny thing was that somebody tried to pronounce Omoloro and the person got it once, and I'm like, is it that they could have actually gotten Omoloro? But the thing that actually discouraged me was that on my Uber, like the first time I came to the US and we were having orientation, and my Uber came, and it was like, my Uber name was Omoloro, and the guy was like, are you Omarion? And I'm like, how did Omarion become, how did Omoloro become Omarion? And I was like, nope, I'm definitely not using this name, because if I'm hearing Omarion from Omoloro, that means the number of things I will hear. Nah.
Yeah. But I think people should also do better trying to learn people's names. Like, I feel like, do not avoid people because you don't know their names. I don't know if you were in that meeting where the professor in school was sharing, how he felt when somebody, like, it also happens in business school. Like, someone cannot pronounce the name on your card, and so the person wouldn't call you at all. I feel it's very unfair in a world that we are trying to be as diverse and inclusive as possible. Like, the worst you can do is, oh, can you teach me how to pronounce your name? Like, you can tell the person, oh, I might need to ask you a couple of times. I hope that's fine. That's fine. Like, try to learn somebody else's name. Don't now say, oh, because I can't, especially in class, because that way you are not being inclusive.
Yeah. And, this just reminds me of one of the professors I had, and he made a point to remember everybody's name. He made a point to remember everybody's name. And I think one thing that I've also experienced since coming here is the fact that anytime I get on a conversation with somebody new for the first time, they're always like, oh, teach me how to say your name so I don't bungle it. And, I also had this, like, maybe it was this whole imposter syndrome thing, but there was a particular class that I felt like a professor was not, like, he will call me, but he won't say my name.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, maybe we're all in class together. I'll be like, oh, Ebon, maybe we talk, or Matthew talk, or Chinanza talk. But when it's my turn, he will just point at me. And I was like, this man does not know how to pronounce my name, or
Yeah.
he doesn't know my name or something.
Yeah.
And when I realized that maybe he just did this subconsciously, was when I went for like his office hours.
Yeah.
And it was like, when I came in, it was just like, oh, Temi Tope, welcome. This is the first time I'm
okay.
seeing you. And I was like,
So you know my
how to
name.
pronounce my name. So why don't you call my name in class? So that was when I realized that, okay, maybe I was thinking too deeply about it, right? So, but I just feel like people are very, I think people are more open this time, because they always be like, oh, I don't want to mispronounce your name, or can I take a stab at it? Can you tell me how it's properly pronounced and things like that?
Yeah.
And I think I've also gotten very relaxed. Like when you're like, oh, is it called Temi Topa? I'm like, oh yeah, great job.
You tried, my dear. E for effort.
At least you're not calling me Omarion. So
Yeah, that's the thing.
So when we talk about like professors and talking in class and everything, have you noticed how conversations happen, especially when you were in school now, even though you're not in school again, like how conversations happen when you're in class? If you're thinking about it, like what kind of conversations are you having?
I don't get. In what sense?
So like, you know how if you're thinking about like the Nigerian university concept, and it's like they're lecturing at you like this. Did you ever notice like a difference between how people speak to professors here?
Oh, obviously. Before you enter class in Nigeria, good morning, ma. You meet your professor and go into class. Good morning, ma. Let me carry your book. Good morning. Wait, excuse me, ma. I was like, oh, she. Most times I didn't even think I really asked questions when I was in school, when I was in college. I don't think so. And it was just, but here, like you can feel free to ask. Obviously, like, still be respectful and things like that.
People will even be gisting, like bringing personal experience, and I'm like, I thought we were in class.
Education is another different topic entirely. Like the difference is clear, and well, there are advantages and disadvantages though. Like there are some. As much as the advantages, as much as I love it, I feel like some people make use of that flexibility and then they just take it for granted. Like if you are a GA or a TA, you see how people were talking to like their lecturers and, making it look like, oh yeah, you can't fail me. Like whatever you want to do, you do your worst, things like that, but, there are also advantages as to where students have the freedom to express themselves freely without feeling, this lecturer would put his or her eyes on me and things like that.
Yeah. I feel like that goes a long way, because you're even more free to express yourself and have your own personality. I don't know if I actually tell you that sometimes I feel like I don't know how to, I think I said it one time that to me, people that I'm an adult, but I'm like, anybody that's older than me, I don't know how to talk to you, because you don't know what you say that will make somebody come out. But here, I think the very first time was when we were having class. Somebody was saying, sit with this guy sitting to ask a lecturer a question. Like the guy like literally pushed his chair back, like folded his hand, was like, you know. And I'm like, hey,
you dare not do that.
You are going to write that course again and again and again and again. So, it gives you that freedom. And I think that's one thing that you don't realize at first when you're coming in. It's like you're still restricted to like, oh, professor this, professor that, or and everything. Yeah. But then you realize that, okay, you can actually like be free, bring up your ideas. They want to hear what you have to say. They want you to push back on the things that they are saying. They want you to also like push back, and all of that. So I think it's just I think which is really good. Yeah, I think when you've had like that whole experience of it's more stiff. I think it's more stiff in Nigeria. It's like more like buttoned up, like respect. Like it's not like there's no respect here, but I feel that it's more laid back and everybody respects everybody. Everybody respects your opinion. They respect the things that you have to say and all of that. So, and the fact that you also coming in with your whatever kind of experience you're coming in before from like your culture or whatever, they also respect that, and they also expect it to add value to what you're going to say in class. So, those are things that along the line you learn that, okay, my opinion actually matters. Like what I have to say makes sense. And I'm actually adding some value.
And that's what we're saying about like just going out there, having that global experience, because there are some things that you just never learn if you don't see how other people are doing it.
True.
But one question I wanted to ask is, do you think that, have you ever experienced, or do you think that people have a bias when they see your name or they see you speak towards you? Bias as far maybe how you are able to deliver, or just any other thing, or maybe look down on you or whatever.
So, okay, before I answer that question, if somebody tells you, maybe if you do like a presentation or something, somebody tells you, wow, Ebon, you did so amazing. You spoke so well. Like, does it ever come to your mind like,
It depends. If I've seen how you relate to other people and it doesn't look like that, then it signals something. But if that's how you are, then that's fine. But you know these things. Let's be very honest. You know when someone is trying to shade you.
It might not even be a shade, but I feel like some people self don't even realize that they are being unconsciously or subconsciously biased. Because sometimes I'm like, you're like, oh my God.
So you didn't expect me to speak to
Yeah, so it's like, every other person is like, oh yeah, great presentation. Everybody are like, oh my God, you did so good. You spoke so well. And I'm like...
They even proceed to ask you, oh, you must have done something like this before you came here.
And I'm like...
Were we farming before we came here? Maybe we were using bow and arrow to hunt. Like, what were you expecting?
It's like... But... I don't know. I think one thing about it, and I think that's one thing that we heard a lot about, or when you're submitting CVs and things like that, make sure you don't use like your full name, put like a short form so that it's like they won't think you're...
But that's not fair.
It's one of these bias. So you can't ever actually say, it's something we hear, but you don't know if they're actually doing it. There's nothing like there's no
people
evidence.
Have experienced it though.
People have experienced it, definitely.
A lot of people have heard people stories of how, in fact, in Nigeria, a lot of us have English names. That's a funny thing.
I don't have an English name.
Well, you do have an English name. Let me not say your English name on this podcast.
A self-given English name.
A lot of us were born with English names because when they brought faith to us, it was through Baptist and all those Presbyterian, whatever they call it, all those churches. They will give you a Christian name, like an English name and things like that. So I've heard stories of people who, and there are some parts of Nigeria too, that their last names are like
English names.
Yeah. So you just won't know. So there are some people, I've heard stories of people who have probably applied for something or, dropped their CV or something somewhere and then they were invited for an interview. And then when they actually saw that the name does not correspond with the face that they wanted to see.
This just reminds me of something like, sorry, I saw recently on Twitter. And they were talking about, the guy also mentioned something like this. Was a post and he said he had gotten a lot of rejections, that him and another guy were two of the best students in class. And somehow, because of his surname, they thought he was like Japanese. So when they now finally saw him for the interview, they were like, oh, we're sorry, we can't. So another guy quoted his tweet and he was saying the same thing, that he had applied for a job and he had gotten to like maybe the final position or maybe one of the interviews or whatever. And the minute they saw him, they were like, oh, we are sorry, we don't hire from like the African region. Wow. We only hire from the EME region. It was like,
that's
A.
Africa.
It was like the A.
Yeah,
it was like, no, the A is silent. He said the interviewer, the recruiter, the HR person said that the A is silent.
Wow.
Yeah. And the person was not like, the person was like, yeah, the A is silent. And I'm like,
that's crazy.
Sure.
I've never had any experience like that, and I think when I was also recruiting, I was being conscious of that because I was like, Omo, if you be in a company where they'll make you feel like you are lesser, I would rather not be there. Like, let me not even apply to that kind of company. And it's terrible because this is like the 24th or the 23rd century. What are we now?
21st, my dear.
24th century.
Yes. No.
21st.
Yes.
Oh, 2023. Oh my God. 21st century. I know what I was thinking. In my head, I was thinking 2304. So yeah, but like this is in this current age.
Yeah,
like I would have expected that things are better now. Both. I say both. Hey God. But
I mean, after you.
My dear, they're coming after me. But thankfully I haven't. I mean, I might have experienced like, all those subtle microaggressions and things like that. But there hasn't been anyone that I would be like, and I think most times I try not to. That's not my first.
Your first
my first thoughts. Yeah. Like if somebody says something to me, the first thing I'm thinking about is, oh, this is racism. No, not really.
Nah. And I don't think we are wired to think that way because maybe because we didn't grow up here and we didn't experience like that history and everything. Maybe because we grew up in Nigeria, and I feel like Nigerians are very rugged. Like you get somewhere and you're like, you're not thinking about what is an obstacle to you. You're thinking about how to like. Your plans are already like 10, 20 times ahead of the people around you. Yeah, so you can't now come. Maybe somebody is even being aggressive to you. You don't even know. Not like you won't know, but like your thought is even past that one. So like they cannot use one small thing to be doing you. So
besides, Nigerians are used to like what have we not seen? You can't abuse like what kind of is it because you are saying that one is small thing now. And this is in no way encouraging microaggression. Like if there are people who I feel like people should go online and see, even if you cannot visit other places, at least go online and see other things about other places, like not just the worst
You
of
need
it
to be
all.
very exposed.
No, people should.
You need
People
to be
need
very
to be.
exposed.
And I think meeting people is also part of being exposed. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, not everybody is open to wanting
Yeah.
to meet more people or,
Yeah.
you know, experience other culture.
And I
things
think
like
there's
that.
also like, I don't know, it depends on the kind of person you are, depends on how social you are. I think there's also like maybe a little, maybe there's an onus on you as well as maybe an international person or somebody that is coming into the US to also try and sell your culture. Not like sell your culture, but like represent your culture good, or represent wherever you are coming from in a positive light. And also educate people that, oh yeah, we do whatever here.
Yeah.
This is what we do. This is whatever we have and things like that.
Yeah. Like I'm Nigerian and I'm Nigerian. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing embarrassing about the fact that, like, I don't think Nigerians ever embarrassed to say I'm Nigerian.
No. That's one thing.
I don't
If there's
think
one thing
so.
we have is pride.
Yeah, it's
If there's
pride.
one thing we have, pride
I
and
think somebody
audacity.
came and said, Nigerians, you people
Pride
are
and
so
audacity.
bold.
Ah.
People are so confident. My dear, we are Nigerians.
We are allowed. Like we are always
Oh my
like
God.
we always want to show people that we are.
Yeah.
We are wherever we are.
The only time that when they ask you, are you Nigerian, your voice goes down is when you're at the airport or immigration and they're looking at your passport.
I'm like, God, I beg.
Oh
God, I
my
beg.
God. But other than that, I mean, people come from different
Yeah.
places. Where you come from is a part of who you are. So don't make anybody feel lesser than you because of that. Like, we are all kings where we came from. Those people too were kings where they came from. You know, and we are bringing in diverse knowledge.
And the funny thing about when you say we are all kings when we came from, the funny thing about it is that, you know, most times people, especially when they feel that they want to come to like school here or anything, they feel like they have to play like the pity card of, oh, I've been fetching water from well, or I've been doing this, or I've been doing that. And a lot of times you realize that the kind of privilege we have to like, because they have a system of like credit and things like that here. But like the kind of system we have here, at least if you've lived any kind of life, you can say that, oh, maybe the phone you are using, you didn't buy it on credit. Or like the laptop you are using, you didn't buy. Most of the things that you own, you bought it in full. Almost all the time, maybe 90% of the time you bought it in full. But you can't also say the same thing as for your counterparts here. So, you know, you might look and see like, this guy is like 21 or something and he's driving a big car, he's driving this, he's driving that. But you don't realize that, okay, that person actually is living on like credit cards or whatever.
Yeah.
But okay, even with the little that you have, you've bought it with your own money and like you've paid in full, that kind of thing. So
Absolutely.
there's a tendency to also like look at your life and compare it with other people's life, but you also have to understand that the systems are different.
Yeah.
Right. So
Absolutely.
it is what
I had a whole conversation with a whole lot of other people about, you know, culture shocks here. In fact,
Yeah.
part 1 and 2 on my channel.
yeah.
On my YouTube channel. So if you want to learn more about some of the culture shocks that we talked about, you know, the health system and, you know, just a whole lot of other things,
And I
feel
think
free
one
to
thing-
slide into my channel to watch those videos.
One thing that I remember that we never talked about, like as a culture shock, was parking. And this parking thing is just pissing me off again because we're just coming from DC and we had to pay $40 to park. $40 to park car.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I hate parking in America because what do you mean you just don't have land that you can just park anywhere?
It's a capitalist economic system. They make money from everything,
No.
Meanwhile, in Nigeria, you can literally
It's first
park
confessor,
anywhere.
just park on the
why
road,
will somebody
go.
come and collect money
Somebody
from
will
you
even
for
block
parking?
road.
You go for a wedding, they will say plate number 02
You are blocking this thing.
534.
Come and
You
move.
are blocking the road.
So they will
Please
tow your car.
move
But
accordingly.
what did we just is it not? Did they not tie somebody's? Is it tire? Did they
Yes,
not
that
tie
they'll put
somebody's
your
tire?
car if you don't pay.
In my apartment complex, they will tow your car. They will carry
Oh
it.
my god, no, parking is crazy.
Oh
Parking
God.
is crazy. It's something that's why I don't like going. I don't like driving downtown because that place is even worse.
Like, what do you mean?
looking for parking is something else.
Do you know that when we were coming back, like from DC, we wanted to go to Walmart and just like buy something for the road, and you know when you're like, oh, the Walmart we've been used to, like down here in the south, like in Georgia and the rest, there is always a big giant parking lot. Only for us to get there, and the Walmart was on the road. It was giving roadside Walmart. We're like,
roadside Walmart.
we're like, what's the meaning of this?
Some
We're
Walmart
already
will
angry.
even charge you for nylon.
That one did not have nylon. That's how you know that their head is not correct. They did not have nylon.
Oh my
So we're
God.
already very pissed off. We're already about to go. We're like, I beg, let's go to when we were in DC. We were like, oh, let's drive down to maybe Virginia. Is it Virginia? Is that the V in this DMV? Yeah. We're like, let's drive down to Virginia. That maybe we'll see Walmart that has parking space. That was when we now realized that they had like underground parking. We were like, no wonder, because if not, how will you people be making it? But yeah, it's just nah.
Yeah, it's something else. I think one last thing before we wrap up is: do you miss home? And if yes, what do you miss?
Do I miss home? I don't think so. The only thing I miss about like being back home in Nigeria is the food. Why? Because there is easy accessibility of food. Because when we were living in Lagos, I can count the number of times I cooked. Like I can count the number of times I cooked in a year. But if I don't cook here, I will not survive. Like you need to cook here to survive. If you don't have money, I'm still up and coming. So I'm still up and coming, so I have to be humble and cook my way to survive. God.
You can't buy food all the
because,
time now.
It's too expensive.
In Atlanta, you get African food a lot.
It's expensive.
Well, true, sure.
It's expensive. Like it's not sustainable if you really think
that's
about
the word.
it. Or even if you even have the money for it, you are not spending wisely. If you are spending your money on like food, it's not just sustainable. That it just doesn't make any sense. Like if it's once in a while, sure, fine. Maybe you like now. I'm in Athens. There's no African food and all that. So if I come to Atlanta and I buy, it makes sense. Because it's like, oh, I've not eaten this in a while or whatever. But you can't do it all the time. So I think that's one thing I miss, because in Surulere then we had everything around us. Yeah. We had Yakoyo. We had what did we not have? Everything that you can think of. So one shawarma was there.
I miss shawarma. I know some people say make it yourself, but please.
Because
please.
No. And all these things that you never think about, moi moi. I made moi moi, which I'm like, why am I like?
Yeah. So I told you I made banana bread for the first time in my life. Those things you could easily buy
your skills that you never thought you had, like talents that you didn't know you had. It will open up inside of you.
I'm telling you.
Because when you think about it, we made moi moi. You know, things like
even this porridge is like the 4th time or 5th time I'm making it my entire life. And part of that 4th time, I think I only made it twice in Nigeria and 3 times here.
Even before I made moi moi here, I'd never made. What is making me make? Like, why will I just wake up in the morning? Except you like cooking, but me, I don't like cooking. Do it now. I will never like cooking.
Our parents used to do it.
No, but
But no, I get what you're saying because I'm also in the same shoes, my dear.
Because if you think about it, like
it's easy access. And you can spend your time on other things.
And food was cheap.
And it was also very affordable.
You just be on the road, like going to work, you see where to buy food.
Yeah, it was very affordable.
You see where to buy food, like things like akara. You don't think about making akara. Like it's just something that go and buy bread and akara from the junction. Yeah. You don't think about suya, like So now, anything you want to eat now, you have to make it.
You go the extra mile if you really want to buy it.
If not, you keep on eating the same 2 food, rice and beans.
Yeah, but I feel like places like Atlanta, Texas, they have more of these things, but it's very expensive and you have to go out of your way. I think some things I miss. Number one, I miss Owambe. Oh my god! Sometimes on Saturdays, in fact, last year, it was like December was the month for people to get married. Like the whole world was literally.
They were doing last to get engaged.
My dear, I was just keeping from one person's status to another, and I was seeing different Owambe. And these are Owambes that we'll probably have attended if we were back in Nigeria. Well, there are 2 things. Number one, I don't miss it because some of those things are expensive.
The money, the Ashwebi. You will do train. If you are not doing Ashwebi, you will do train. Or you do. Then the cost of like flying and with the price of things are now.
But the other part is, again, if it's your very, very, very close friend, you want to be there for their special day. The last place I feel like we did party and vibes. Tiana's wedding.
Okay, and I went for Simi's wedding too.
Yeah, and then we did Aurora's wedding too in February before I left. That was actually really nice too. So I think that's one thing I miss.
Yes, you're around for Tiana's wedding.
I miss Owambe. It might not even be wedding. It might be in actual fact when I was in Nigeria, like my mom, she's a retired principal, so she'll have people. She's like, this person's son, this person's daughter. Sometimes I'll just be like, if I know that, let me tag along. And then we'll just go and watch like vibes, and then she'll be there doing her own thing, greeting her people and things like that. So even birthday parties, Thanksgiving, like there are things that are happening, right? I miss my friends. I miss how we just hang out. Like it was not like all of us were together in one place before, but like December, oh my God, I miss holidays in Nigeria. Like December, like you see hanging out, even if it's just your family, like the cooking and the whole.
Are you missing cooking? I don't understand.
No, there'll be a lot of cooking in the house. Like like you have food.
I think
Like there would be like, oh, there's these available. There's these people who bring food. You know, there's always that festive thing happening.
My own experience was different because we didn't used to really celebrate Christmas. Not like we didn't celebrate it, but because my parents' birthday are like the day before Christmas.
Oh, okay.
So we used to celebrate their birthday. Like we did all the cooking and everything that day. Then Christmas just used to be cheap. We didn't used to do anything because there's already food, there's already everything. So we didn't. And funny enough, while we were growing up, we never used to go out on Christmas Day. So when I like started working and people used to now say, "Oh, we are going out," I'm like, "Why are you going out on Christmas Day?" Like it sounded so wrong to me.
It will be very crowded outside.
Yeah, but people actually go out on Christmas, and I'm like,
yeah,
I can't go out on Christmas Day. Like I don't go out on Christmas Day.
Out on Christmas Day too. But we used to have like family, like people are around, you know,
So
and it's always a
we just used
vibe.
to stay indoors and everything.
Yeah, and then on Christmas Day when we're much younger, like we'll carry food from one person's house to another. Like we had neighbors, like we'll carry. So we'll do food exchange, like everybody. And then the smaller people, like the young folks, they'll give them money when they go and carry food
like that
and
money
things like
part.
that.
That money part is my best part.
So
because
I
then
miss
they used to give us money based on our age.
True.
So the oldest person will collect the highest amount, and they will not give you new notes.
Yeah, new note. I don't know where it's like they save it for Christmas.
Yeah, they not give you new notes.
When we were younger, Christmas was fun. You
your
buy
mommy will not tell you that. Give me the money, I hold it for you.
Oh my god, yeah. So I miss festive seasons. I miss people in Nigeria, and I
think there's also something about just knowing that people are around.
People like you are around.
People are around. Like so, you can always like, oh, let me just go to this place. Or let me go to that place. Yeah,
there's always somewhere to go.
But now you have to like literally plan it. You have to plan whatever you want to do. Like, oh, let's have a Christmas party. Okay, let's do this. Let's do that. Let's go here. Let's go.
Yeah.
You can't just, somebody was saying, I think during last Christmas, somebody was saying, let's just go to Atlanta and like, let's just be spontaneous. I'm like, you want to be spontaneous in Atlanta? Like, you don't do spontaneity in Atlanta. Because if you go somewhere, you find out that you don't have a reservation. So your transport to that place is wasted. Or wherever you have to have plans already. And you have to book things. Because it's not a place that you just come and say, oh, is there space? Most times, like, you need to have booked ahead or you need to have planned something. So it involves a lot of planning, a lot of coordination, getting on people's calendars and schedules and things like that. So
yeah, but it's good being here too. I mean, thankfully we have people around. Unfortunately, I hear people say, oh, I don't have anybody, I don't make friends, and I'm like, I can't even imagine what you're going through, because I feel like every stage of your life you need people. Like we all need people.
And again, it's also about, I think one thing too that is not easy as well, kind of like how we came into the MBA program and community was building because Nigerians were coming in, Africans were coming in and things like that. And when I speak to some other people and I'm like, are you guys not doing something? Because I'm talking and I'm like, okay, well, how many Nigerians, like how many Africans do you guys have in your department? They're like, everybody's just doing their own thing. And I'm like, okay, if nobody is doing anything, you can start something. Like you can actually like, this quote of be the change you want to see in the world. Like if you want to see like you guys coming together, if you want to see yourself vibing, be the one to actually say, okay, Lagbaja or you, this one, let's do something. Let's, from there you build up and like you continue to grow from there. So it's not always easy like taking that first step, right?
I think I saw someone's post on Instagram about how she started a community. She talks majorly about her experience here. I don't think it was an MBA. I think it was a master's she did, but she had been here like before now. I can't remember her name, but I know it's someone that I consistently see on Instagram talking about how they had to start something. Yeah. Start a community. I think that's my own word for the week as we round up. It's like start a community. You need a community. You can't do life alone, right? Look for people that you have things in common. It could be anything. For us, it was apart from the MBA, apart from AGSF, it was church. Like church was the community for us. So like find your own community, find people that you do things in common together. Like it will go a long way. Again, do not do life alone.
Yeah. I think one thing that I've always fallen back on every time I get to a new place is that, because I think I've said it before, that I'm not the friendliest of people when I'm in a new environment. I do a lot of observation, I do a lot of watching and seeing. And one place that I'm always very sure that I'm going to find my own kind of people, because you don't know people until you know them, right? But I know one thing that is always sure that I'm always going to find my kind of people is when I go to church, when I go to the body of Christ. So like you already know that it's kind of like a cheat sheet, because you already know that these people believe in God. So like your foundations are already similar.
Yeah.
So it's just about finding, okay, do you like what I like?
Yeah.
Do you like what I like, or do you not like what I like? So, but at least you know that your values baseline are already the same. So like, I feel like anytime I'm in a new place and I'm feeling like, oh, I don't have anybody I'm talking to, or I don't have this, I find a church. Or I find a community of believers, and I just take it from there. And God has always helped me. So like that will be my own daily dose of EO for this episode. Like, find a community of believers. Like, find your community.
Yeah, and be involved. Don't just find it. Like, people are like, oh, I came to church today. Nobody. My dear, if you are involved, if you are in a thing, if you are adding value, there's no way you won't be there and people won't notice, right? Don't just go somewhere and say, no, there's no, don't have that. I think that's
even a very old school thing. So that you be like, I came to church, nobody greeted me, or nobody said hi to me.
You know, join a unit, join a small group,
be involved
or something, and then you'll be fine. Everybody will be fine. Last. Anyway,
everybody will be fine. Last.
Last. What else is there to say? But I think if you have any questions, if you feel like something that we said resonated with you, if you
send us an email,
go on social media platforms, send us a DM, send us emails, whatever it is. And if you feel like there's something that you want us to expand on, or something that you want us to talk about, let us know.
Yep.
And with this, we have come to the end of the third episode of Girls Gossip Podcast. All right, thank you guys
so much for listening, guys.
See you in the next one. Bye.